Hello and welcome everyone to this all-in-one Figma tutorial. My name is Ben Morose. I am the lead graphic design mentor for FRC Team 2530 Inconceivable. In this tutorial, we're just going to show you everything that you need to know to use Figma for graphic design on our team. Figma is a web-based graphic design program that specializes in vector art. Now, vector art is a mathematical representation of like lines and curves that you can use to create 2D graphical assets, similar to like logos and t-shirts and the like. This is not a raster art program, which would be dealing more with the individual pixels in something like Microsoft Paint or Photoshop. We're going to be using this program for all of the graphic design that we need to do for our team, and I'm going to show you how to do it. So, what we do is you sign in to Figma, or you go to figma.com in a web browser. Figma.com. Oh yeah. And then we're going to want to get started for free. And you're going to use your team Gmail account that we use to sign into Google Drive and the like. And once you do that, it should bring you to something sort of similar to this. It might bring you to the recents, I'm not quite sure. This will all be empty completely. You'll just see a gray screen. Our team uses the free version of Figma. We don't have any subscription, meaning that we can only have a max number of files that we have per member before you hit a subscription limit. If we go down over here to all projects, we can see we have a project. I believe that's automatically created. If it's not, you can just hit this. We can double click to go into our project. It doesn't have any files, but we see over here, we have limits. So we have to find a way around that. I'm going to quickly create a file here. We're just going to call it yo, and I'm just going to make a really quick thing, just a proof of concept. Boom, yo, exclamation point, beautiful. Our wonderful graphic design. This will be sure to attract a great number of sponsors and propel our team into the future. Excellent. So the way we get around this, now, if I duplicate this tab and we go over back to our project view, you see we got a design file in here. It's taking up one of our 3 design files. And we're not going to get many graphic design projects done if we can only have 3 of them max. So the way we get around this is we go back into our file here. We can go up into the upper left here, hit File, and then Save Local Copy. And what that does is it downloads a .fig file for us that we can transport out to Google Drive. We can import back into Figma, and then we can store everything on Google Drive and not on Figma's file storage, thus effectively just escaping that hard limit. Now, what we do, we got this .fig file. I can see it in my downloads. Beautiful. We can go back to our files here, delete this to save on our storage capacity. Boom. And now I can simply just take this file and drag and drop into the Figma thing. It's going to automatically import our .fig file. Boom. And that's how we're going to be doing it. Now, the way that we store these out in Google Drive, I just want to tell you before we get into the nitty gritty here, go out to our team Google Drive and then hit in the graphics folder. This is where we store all of our graphics stuff and all of the Figma files and the like. I'm just going to go find where I know Figma files are. So we're going to go into a folder here. This is for the most recent t-shirt. We have a folder in here called Figma source files. Now that's going to be, you see these are .fig files right here. That's going to be how we do our version control for this. So I can take this, download it. You basically upload your Figma files here once you're done working on them. And once this is done downloading, we can just go right back in to our team project. We can even take it from up here if you're on Chrome. I'm not sure how this works on other browsers. We can just drag and drop right there. Boom, import the t-shirt design file, and now we have it beautiful right here. Boom, what a lovely t-shirt backing. Let's just practice this. Go back, file, save local copy, and boom, we got this. We can now send it out to Google Drive, and then when we go back to here, we can delete it to free up that storage space. Excellent. Each member is going to have their own individual project. You can just use team project or whatever the default is, or just make one. It doesn't really matter. What matters is what kind of files we create. Now, if you go up here to create new, we will be dealing with design files. That's just a general purpose graphic design layout. There are other file types here. We're not going to be using them. They are useful, but we don't need them right now. So up here, create new design file. Awesome. Now we're in here. First thing we want to do is give it a name so that we can maintain a good naming convention. 2024 Figma tutorial. Beautiful. Now we're going to see a bunch of stuff here. What matters right now is we can collapse this. We're just going to be working on one page on a layer. Now, the first thing you're going to want to do is plop down a frame or hit F for that, and then just boom. And this is going to be our work sort of canvas. You can see it popped up in here. We're going to say just, I don't know, background. Just be sure to label these things nicely so that, you know, if any other team member comes around and says, hey, what the heck is your file? Then they can figure it out without you having to be there to explain it. So if you hold the middle mouse button, you will get this little grabby thing. You can pan around the design, move it around. This isn't moving the design. This is just moving your view of it. Like right here, if we create another frame, you can just see we're zooming on, we're moving all around. Control scroll to zoom in and out. And normal scroll wheel pans you side to side, and shift scroll wheel and such. More importantly, we click on something to select it. You can also click on it over in the scene, over in the layer tree, and you'll get it. And it shows its attributes. Now, it has a position. We can, you know, move this around. This is actually moving it. Usually we want our frame to start at 0, 0, and then be a certain size. Now, say we want, hey, I want an 8.5 by 11 standard sheet of paper. How do we do that? There's a few ways to do it. I think the easiest way to do it is to go up here, and you can just find a preset that has your correct sizing. In this case, for us, it's going to be letter. Boom. This gives us an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. But you'll notice over here, the width is 612, the height is 792. What the heck does that even mean? Is that even correct? Is this really a letter, or are they lying to me? Well, Figma uses a measurement system known as points. And one point is equal to 1/72 of an inch, or 72 points make an inch. So this one, 612, you know, say I want my paper to be 5 inches wide. All right, so we do 5 times 72 points, and then we're going to get a paper 5 inches wide. Beautiful. So you could go up to here if we just have like some random aspect ratio, and we say, hey, I want an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper. We can go 8.5 times 72 over there, and then 11 times, 72. Boom, we got an 8.5 by 11 sheet of paper that way as well. So if you know the exact paper you're dealing with, sometimes it's easier just to do the math in here. And yeah, you can do a whole bunch of math operations in here. I can, you know, subtract 1 point to make everyone angry, or, you know, say, oh, I need 1 more inch. We can just add another 72, or add, you know, 2 times 72. Gets a little difficult to see, but then we just added 2 inches over there. Boom, now it's a 9.5 by 11 sheet of paper. All right, so we're dealing with a plain frame, plain canvas here. We could start to put stuff on this now, which is the beauty of it. We go down here, and we find our little shape zone. We can make a bunch of shapes. I want to make a rectangle. Beautiful. It's great. Zooming in here, we see a number of different things. You can resize it with this. Pretty standard for most art applications, just being able to resize this. These little things affect corner rounding. You can mess around with that if you want. Our team doesn't really have standards for this. I would just try to keep everything consistent if you do, and run it by the graphics team. Over here, probably the most important stuff is our fill and stroke areas. So if we go to fill, we click this, it'll bring up a whole color wheel, and we can say what color the rectangle is. We're going to make it a lovely green, but not just any green. If you go to the Google Drive, go all the way back out, we have a style guide for our team. Please stick to these colors. These are hand-picked colors that we should abide by in our team, colors and fonts. If you're going to make something unique from this, try to pull from these colors before making your own custom color. It'll just help keep our brand integrity intact. So I'm going to take this. I think the easiest way to do it in Figma is to copy the hex value of it. We go over to Figma, go down here to hex, paste it, boom, team green. There it is, in all of its neon glory. So we have team green rectangle. Awesome. But I want to add an outline to this. I don't like that this is just a flat rectangle of color. An outline is referred to as a stroke in graphic design, and we can go down here to increase its thickness and decrease it. We can say whether the outline starts outside of the shape or on the inside or halfway in between both of them. We can likewise determine its color into this disgusting abomination. If we don't want the stroke or the fill, we can click this little minus here and it'll just remove it. Control Z to undo. We can toggle visibility if we still want it, but we want to just hide it temporarily. And you can go into all sorts of crazy options. You can add rounded, beveled corners. You can add a dashed stroke to make this, sort of some weird, strange selection box. You can do all sorts of this stuff. Just kind of, not that you should, sometimes less is more. Just go with something simple so it doesn't look too jarring. And try to pick a better color scheme than this. Awesome. We made a rectangle. Congratulations, you're now a graphic designer. Amazing. But I want my rectangle, I want to make a triangle, or I want to make this rectangle, I want to snip this corner off, but not all the corners. How do I do that? We're going to do what's called node editing. If you double click this shape, we got a different infill now. You see these points, these little nodes up in the corner. What we can do with that is we can start editing the geometry. Remember, Figma is a vector-based graphic design program. These are all vectors represented mathematically. We can move their starting and ending positions and get them to change, create some graphic for us however we please. And this is how we create a lot of our geometry. Because like the whole shape, you can remove stuff, I can go here, you see this little thing pop up, it'll bring us a shortcut for the pen tool, it'll add a node into our geometry. We can select this node, we can hit delete, and it'll remove it, and subsequently break our shape. If you want to make a custom shape, that's not just adding or subtracting vertices from like a square, I would recommend, let's just go to the tree and delete the whole thing, maybe. Boom. All right, I would recommend the pen tool. Common in a lot of programs, it allows you just with each click, it places down a vertex. And then we can go and close the shape by going back to the initial vertex. Boom, we have a shape. It's called Vector 1. Beautiful. We probably want to name this something. Shape of Wonder. And we have similar fill and stroke things for this. Right now it only has a stroke, so it's like an outline, fancy little sort of dinosaur creature. I don't really know, but awesome. I'm going to add a fill. I'm going to go for a beautiful team green. Look at that. Inconceivable branded dino thing. Wonderful. We can double click it again, edit all the nodes, say I placed one weird. We can also use the pen tool down here, shortcut P. When you hover over stuff, it'll show you a little shortcut right there. So I could just be in select mode, hit P, I'm in pen mode. Booyah. You can see a lot of stuff from this. You can just click down, free form if you want, close the shape to get the fill. Beautiful. Or you can add to an existing node. Boom. I got this now. I got this funky offshoot shape. It's now, he's got like an antenna of some sort. Awesome. I can double click, get back into node view. If you're ever in pen tool and want to get back to selection, hit V. Or you can come down here and just hit this little arrow. Booyah. And now I can just select these nodes, say I don't want them anymore. I can just hit delete. They're gone. Beautiful. If you ever find that you delete a node, oh no, my shape is broken. How will I ever fix this? You can go into node view. You can go into node view. There we go. You should be able to connect these nodes, and sometimes they'll do something. Right now this doesn't have a fill anymore, but we can give it back, You can connect them, or you can go back down to pen tool and just stitch them right back up. It's still the same shape. We just need to redo the fill there. Beautiful. Look at that. Our lovely little guy is evolving. We find that you can also select edges of stuff to move edges around. And you'll see a bunch of these like red lines, like this one, just appearing. Oh, back into vector view. Stuff is just appearing and snapping all weird. If you want, you can turn off snapping. Those are just snapping lines. They allow you to automatically get things aligned like this one while the red line is there. These two dots are vertically aligned, or horizontally aligned rather. And you can use that to snap things nicely. It can be a little weird because if I put these two nodes on top of each other, sometimes there'll be two nodes there instead of just one, and that gets a little funky. So just be aware when you're doing that. We don't want to have a bunch of geometry overlapping itself. We might get strange results, so just be careful. Sometimes we want to add a curve. Now, say I want to give our, here, hang on. Let's give our dino friend some sort of eye. He's okay, he's got blue eyes. Awesome. Our dino friend, let's give him like a whole, he's now like a dino fish, I suppose. Look at that. That's a fish right there. I want to give the back of our dino friend fish, some other, I want to round the back of his head. Well, I can do this. I can go boom here like that, but it's still jagged. There's no curves. How do I do curves? So we go pen tool. I'm just going to make a curve here. And when I click, I'm not going to stop clicking. I'm just going to click and hold and drag. And now that we do that, we can make a Bezier curve. Excellent. So I'm just going to stop it right there. Hit escape and we're back. Now I have this curve. And we see when we start dragging it, we have these little handles defining how the curve is shaped. If you're familiar with Bezier curves, exact same thing here. What I can do, I'm going to line that up there. Delete this line. Make this all one happy shape. Oh, these are not trued up, see what I mean? Got to be careful. Boop. And the shape's back to normal. We now have a one contiguous connected shape. I'm going to stretch these handles all the way out here, kind of true them up. And look at that, he's blobby now. How wonderful. We're feeling pretty good. But when I move the fish around, say, I want to move fish. Oh, his eye is not going with me. Oh no, his eye's out in space. He's dangling. We can't have our fish friend without eyes. What the heck's going on? Well, it's because if we look over in our layers view here, these two shapes are separate. I can hide them, I can lock them and prevent them from being edited and all that. They're two separate shapes. I can move this one separate. How do we get them to be the same shape? Well, I'll show you. Basically, if all the things you want to move everything together and scale it properly, all we got to do is shift select, and that'll select everything, or control and select the ones you want. And then just right click and group selection. Now to make a group, we can click on group. We'll move the whole thing. Group, we're going to call this fish friend. Awesome. Rename this as eye and head, I suppose. Whatever that's supposed to be. Awesome. We can move everything separate from within here. Just know this is what we're selecting. If we want to select everything, you got to select the whole group, and then we can move it all over here. All right, well, my fish, he's a little huge. He's like practically spilling off the sides of the paper. Every time I shrink him down, he squishes. I can't get him to be perfect. I can eyeball it, but I can't keep his same aspect ratio. He's stretching, he's squishing. We don't want that. So what you do, when you do this, hold shift. It'll scale proportionally, and if you hold alt, it'll scale proportionally at the center. And control, I think, snaps to stuff, but we don't have any like snapping direction. We don't have anything else on the frame, so it doesn't really matter. We say, hey, great. All right, I shrank my fish guy, but now when I zoom in him, something's off. He doesn't look like our fish guy used to. He's got the same shape, but his stroke is like way too bold. And like if I were to scale fish guy up, a whole bunch. Say we would just make our frame huge. Background, boop. Just make our background ginormous. And we scale fish friend up, holding shift. Our stroke is way too thin. Our stroke does not change when we scale. It's stuck at a solid 15-point stroke right now. Sometimes that's good for keeping your geometry all, keeping everything consistent with each other, but sometimes we don't like that, especially when we're placing down a logo or something on a t-shirt. We want that stroke we want everything to scale uniformly. You see the eye is scaling proportionally with everything, but the stroke is not. And I don't want to have to go in and manually math out the stroke and make our fish friend look good again. That's way too much effort and it's highly imprecise. We don't want that. So what we do is we use a little plugin. Down here, we can hit Manage Plugins and we search for Proportional Scale. Download it. I already have it downloaded. So we hit okay. I already have it downloaded. We go in, hit Plugins, Proportional Scale. Now, anything selected, we can scale using these numbers. Say I want to make it 50% of the size it was. I just hit 50, I hit go, boom. It's scaled down and the stroke is scaled down. And we can see that because the stroke is no longer 15, it's 7.5, exactly 50% of 15. Beautiful. So now we can scale down designs. Say we want our fish friend. I need him to be perfectly stroked out every single time. I don't have to mess around with it. I can just use proportional scale and I can do it again. I can make him 30% of his current size. Oh, look, he's so tiny. All right, I can make him 300%. Now he's 3 times bigger. Woo, he's back. Beautiful. You can just keep on editing that and it'll keep not being problematic for you. I want to say I want to make our team logo. Our team logo sort of looks, it's got like this. It's got like a square rooty thing. It comes down here. There it is. Beautiful, and then we go over with the 1 here and just connect it all up. Do a little rectangle in there. Boom. Inconceivable. That looks awful. Everything's askew. It's not fun. No one's having fun. We want everything to be all trued up. So we're going to double click, go into Node Editor, and we can come up here, wait till this is red. Boom. Now this upper segment right here, this one's flat. Excellent. We just want to keep doing that. Right now I'm just going to block it out, make sure everything's flat and square with itself. And I want to true this point up with this one. So it's both going to be flat and in line. There it is. Make this one flat. Make these roughly the same length. Making a line exactly like 45 degrees can be a challenge at times. I would recommend going into the line tool, placing a line and holding shift. It'll snap it to cardinal directions. I say here, look at this line. Is it 45 degrees? Oh, is it 44? Is it 46? I don't know. I'm just going to delete these 2 nodes, holding shift while I do it. Delete them. It's gone. Don't worry about it. We're going to make a little line right here. Do that. Snap for 45 degrees. There it is. Beautiful. And then we can just pen tool back here. But I can't pen tool. What's going on? I can't, I can do this, but I can't, it's all mishmashed and that's all different. How do we make this vector right here, this little one? Oh, that's how do we make this line, this one, all connect up to this whole vector shape? How do we do that? Well, I'm going to drag these up to rearrange them. Control click or shift click. And then we go down here, right click, hit flatten. Boom. It's going to make these part of the same vector shape. Now it is going to try its best to combine. These both had different strokes. It just said, hey, which one do we want to combine? We're going to go with the first stroke. So you can only do so much, so just be careful when you do that. But don't worry about it. We're going to go down here. I'm going to go into vector view, double click. And now all these things, it's all one shape here. I'm going to true that up. I'm going to true this up. Boom. And I can connect them with the pen tool. Whoopsie do. Connect them with the pen tool. Hit that. Boom. Hit that. Boom. Oh, it's beautiful. Now, I want to... This is looking a little skinny here, so I'm just going to go into the node view. I can select nodes using a big select by just dragging, and then just scoot them over by dragging. Boom. Get that a little bit thicker. Awesome. Okay. We can double click to get out of there. Now we have a lovely little radical sign here. And we can go here. I'm just going to delete these because I'm disgusted. And this one, we even had like a curve on it when I didn't mean to have a curve. We definitely don't want that for this design. So I'm just going to escape, delete these two shapes. Boom. I'm going to go into this vector shape because I want it to be all kind of the same shape. I also found it might be easier, there's another way of building shapes other than just pen tooling them into existence and then having to deal with the curves because we're not super precise. You can just make a rectangle. For this one, we just want it to be a rectangle. I'm going to get rid of the fill, add a stroke. I don't know what stroke this one is on. 12? Okay, let's just copy that over to 12. Not 112, 12. All right, I'm going to snap this up here. Okay, I'm going to flatten these just to make them the same thing. Select them both, flatten. Now that scaled it down. We don't want that. Maybe I want to rearrange this so that this rectangle will grow to this size, just so we don't have any issues there. Boop. Okay, that's flattened. I can go in the node view, select these two. I'm going to make sure they're the exact same height as that. I'm going to go in here, select these two, make sure they're at the exact same height as that. Now everything is flush with itself. You see they're at the same exact height. Beautiful. Just basic graphic design principles there, keeping things consistent. Now, I would technically like this gap and this gap to be about the same thickness. And we can figure that out, I guess, by doing some math. But a lot of times, if I want those exact things to be the same thickness, I can take this shape, press Control D to duplicate. Control D to duplicate. I'm going to use the arrow keys to move this out of the way. Boom, we have an exact duplicate shape of this one. True everything up. Okay, well, we don't want two radicals, so then we just go in and do a little bit of node editing. Boom. Delete this one. We can delete this. And we have this width right here. We want to keep that. We can just go back into our pen tool, add these lines that are missing. True that one up. Make sure everything's all red and snapping. We can delete this one. We can delete this one. Go back here, make our shape beautiful. Now this shape, we go into here. Oopsie. Select all this. This shape has the same exact width as that shape, and it keeps our designs nice and consistent. But you'll notice on our logo, if you look, it's got a little slant right here. Little slanty, goes down like that. And this one is actually also slanted. Now I can try to squint here and make sure, try to get these both to be the same angle. I can go here. I can delete that edge and then true it up. That looks good, right? Are they the same angle? Good enough? Well, we don't want good enough. We want geometrically perfect. That might be a little bit too much to ask, but don't worry about it. So what do? Well, sometimes it can be easier just to join the entire shape like this. We might just want to come in here with the pen tool, go perfectly vertical. Well, if I can get it. Perfectly vertical. And do another one, perhaps. Boom. And then just go in here and move this edge over like that. So it's perfectly in line. And then we can delete that and delete that. Going over, I'm just going to clean that up. We don't want extraneous lines here, so just connect her back up. And then we can take this edge, scoot it on over. And there's our wonderful shape. And if we ever want to change this angle, we can do a sneaky thing, just select these two, and it'll change the angle for us. Look at that. I want it to be more like that, I think, and maybe extend this one out just a bit further. There we go. Pretty close, honestly. Not too bad. And then for the extremely difficult task of making a square, we're just gonna make a rectangle. Boom, look at that. Extremely advanced techniques here, never before seen. Drop a rectangle, reorder it so that the rectangle takes our stroke, and then we're going to flatten, and boom. Bring it over here, get rid of that fill. Now we have this. I'm gonna just make these gaps about equal. Make sure this edge is up a bit. And we pretty much have our team logo. Awesome. Now you'll notice our current team logo has a funky circuit board pattern in the back. And that's going to be interesting. Right now I'm going to hide this. It's a little bit difficult to see. Let me just fill this with our classic team green. Need to go back here, copy. Boom, team green. I want to bring in our circuit board pattern. I'm trying to see if I can find what we did. Think missed design elements might have it. Yeah. So I have a circuit board pattern here. It is an SVG, which stands for Scalable Vector Graphics, which is going to be a nice vector art thing that we can use. I'm going to download that. Go back to the Figma tutorial, wait for it to do its download thing. Perfect. I'm just going to drag and drop right into my Figma file. There it is. Big old circuit board thing. You can see it's made out of vectors, not just pixels. Perfect. It's not really going to work for us in the way that it is. It's a little much to look at right now. I'm going to get this in an area that I like. I'm just going to fill it with white at the moment. In order to have this work properly, I want to convert this from a vector to a fill, or from a stroke to a fill. So I'm just going to remove the stroke. We're going to be using this. Boom, just going to give it some color so that we can see it. In order to get this, we'd want to make a mask. So we're going to use this, our little logo, as the mask, and then our path as the pattern. So I'm going to go way up here and hit use as mask. Boom. And it's not going to work. I think we need to reorganize it, maybe. There we go. All right. Now that we got this, we're having our design only show the circuit board. This is a little crazy. I'm going to hide or lock this one so that we can't select it, so we're not going to get so much flickering. All right. Now we have our logo and circuit board, but I kind of want the strokes back. So I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to remove the mask property from it, and we're going to bring back that stroke that we had. It was like 12 point or something. I don't even know. I'm going to make it outside only. Get rid of the fill and our strokes back. I'm going to make the fill of our circuit board path equal to team green, and then make our outline team green. Boom, maybe bring that down a little bit. And awesome, we have our whole circuit design here. Now, I'm just going to rename this to circuit board pattern. Keep that all nice. We're going to say logo mask, and we're going to call this logo outline. Awesome. Just to keep everything naming happy. Now, I don't really like all these blocky regions up here. So what I can do, we can take this and drag it around. And we can find a nice little area wherever we want for our logo to encapsulate. I'm liking this zone, but it's a little little bit too small resolution. I can take this, remember, shift and hold to scale. Now all the wires are a bit bigger. I'm liking that. It's pretty interesting. Okay, so say I found my composition that I like. Awesome. But I don't like this one thing up there. I'm going to select just these ones. See if I can move them out of the way. Perfect. Doesn't even matter. Now we don't see anything up there. Perfect. Let's hit escape to unselect all this. It's getting a little unwieldy, but don't worry about it. Okay, gonna just zoom it up there. Perfect. How about that? Okay, now I want to put the team number right up here. Say 2530 so that everyone knows it's our team number. All right, I'm gonna hit T for text. I can just click and drag to make a little text box. Say yo, oh, you can't really see it. I'm gonna type in 2530. I'm gonna go to the style guide here, use a team font. I'm thinking Arvo. It doesn't exactly matter for numbers, but we like to keep things consistent. So I'm gonna go here and see if we got Arvo there. Okay, I'm gonna try italic for this one. There we go. Give it a bit more font size. You can go right here in this pixel and increase font size. Now currently I want this text to be cut out of our mask over here. So what I want to do, I'm going to unmask this just briefly, bring these two together, perform a Boolean operation to say exclude. So we're excluding this physically from, we're excluding the text physically from the mask. I'm going to make this back into a mask, and now if we look at this, there we go. It's just cut out. Okay. But say I want an outline on this one. It's kind of hard to see right now. It's like, it's kind of back there. I want an outline on it. So I'm just going to duplicate this text. Boom. Bring it up over everything and increase the stroke. And now we have a cutout. Okay, make it a little bit bigger. I might move our circuit board pattern around a little bit just to make that, you know, even more open and easier to see. It's all like a big balance with this. This takes a lot of time, but right now I'm just doing it quick and dirty, just to kind of get the general vibe of it. And the benefit of this, I could have just made this background black instead of doing all this exclude stuff, you know, all this Boolean operation. But what happens is if I made that black and say we wanted to put the logo on a white background, I'm just going to make a frame here. Boom. White background. We put the logo on it, the black would show through, but now that we've done this, it shows on any background. I can change whatever color of the background I want, and this entire design is transparent or green and nothing in between, which is perfect. You can put it on whatever you want, any amount of transparency, doesn't matter. It'll work. That's the way to do it. Boolean operations are your friend, especially using non-destructive things. I can go back in here. I can edit the text. Say I got a different team number or something, you know, like I could say just like, yo, boom, go back in here, same thing, edit the text. This is the way I found to do it. There might be a way to do it without needing to go back in and edit this text again, because currently it's a little bit difficult to do that, but now we got yo in there. I'm team yo. That's amazing. I'm going to move it over here. Gonna take this, gonna move it over there. Well, really I should just like, you know, moving stuff. I'm gonna duplicate it, bring it back up here. It's there. No fill, only stroke, bring it around. And now we're team yo. How amazing. So now that we have our glorious design, let's just take this, collapse it. Let's center it in the frame roughly just so we can place it nicely. Good enough. We got yo in there. All right, now I want to make this into an SVG or PNG. Like I want to take this into Photoshop. I want to send this off to somebody so that they can use it or plunk it on a t-shirt or something. And you can't just do that with a .fig file. You'd want to export it. So we'd go over here, we'd select what we want to export, which in this case is everything, this entire frame. Go down here to export. maybe hit the plus. Going in here to export. Here, we can choose our scaling and our file type. Right now, I'd like to do SVG personally. PNG and JPEG are two types of raster. So these are raster files. So these are going to be pixels. SVG and PDF are vector things. So they're going to be vectors, infinite scaling. I personally want an SVG. Doesn't matter the scaling because it's infinite. Export frame 1. Boom. I got an SVG. When we go to put this design on something or send it out to print, a lot of websites and people can't read an SVG's mask attribute, and so it shows up like blank. Like if I were to go in here and we find that these are the SVGs, they should have, here's what the PNGs look like. Awesome. They have our lovely inconceivable, like they have our lovely circuit board pattern, but I go in and I check SVGs. They don't. Google Drive does not support these masks in their SVGs, and a lot of printing companies don't either, and it's kind of been a pain for us. But the really hacky workaround I found when you're using masks is to download it as a PNG and take it to a converter. I really hate doing this, but it's kind of what we have to do. Take it, we've exported it, and then we go convert it. I like this converter. It doesn't, it does exactly what I want it to. But if you've converted it big enough, if we have a big enough SVG, then you can just drop it down. Boom. We have this design that came out of the converter. I really hate having to do this, but sometimes it's what we got to do. You'll notice, though, that if we change this, you'll notice everything but the logo is showing up. Like this, the logo is actually transparent. You can see stuff underneath it. So quick fix for that one. We just take all this, flatten it, so it becomes just one vector path. Boom. And then we just make like a square behind it. Put that behind. Take this. We're going to subtract selection as a Boolean. And now it's subtracted. We can take this, flatten it again. And now we have just one whole vector path. All of this is just vector. I can trim off this stuff, delete, boom. Now I've got all this as a vector. It's no longer like a nice stroke like it's not like a nice stroke that we have over here. You see in this, or double click. It's not like these nice strokes here. It's all like node based, but that's why we duplicate it here so that we can always go back and edit and then go through the same, albeit slightly annoying process to figure it all out again. So if I was to drop this SVG, then we need to save this as an SVG. Boom, export, finally as an SPG. It's just called subtract right now, but that's fine. I load it up in here. I can even upload this to Google. It should be good. If I upload this right here, let's just, boom, subtract SVG. There's no masking, there's no Booleans, there's no nothing that's going to mess with it. It's going to show up just fine with all of our detail. Use masking sparingly, only when you really have to, so you don't have to go through this entire process. But there you go, that's how you do masking. So, say we got everything. I want to make a t-shirt. We got a logo. It's amazing now. I'm going to create a new design file here. We got a t-shirt. Let's make a frame. Start by making a frame, always. All right, I'm just going to drop this lovely green t-shirt template that I have here. Boom. And take that template, lock it up. Make it a child. There we go. So now I can click all over this. I'm not going to move the t-shirt because I locked it over here. Boom. Now we're just going to take, hey, I got lovely SVG of our logo. Holy crap, it's huge. Don't worry about it. We can do that. You remember shift, holding shift as we drag. Boom. This is all in SVG. In this case, I want it to be black. Now, normally, when we're selecting our colors and stuff, I wouldn't normally change this to black and go. I would just go from the Team 2530 logos, take the SVG of what I want, select black on transparent. We've already exported all these. Don't go making your own. Just to keep everything as consistent as possible with our brand, we don't want to willy-nilly assign colors to things. We want to stick to these. And all of these presets have already been created for you out here. So please use these. This is just for the demonstration so that I can quickly make something black and not... We're using our yo thing. I don't quite have a full ecosystem out here. But yeah, drag and drop. There's a t-shirt. And then you could basically, you can take this. We can go over... I need a sponsor logo or something. We go over here to our sponsor logos. Boom, we got like... We go into the SVG. I can just take all this. Let's take BTM just for instance. Okay. Download it. Awesome. We downloaded it. All right. Just take it. Drag it in here. Boom. It's huge again. Perhaps we need to make our... Or something bigger. Oop, we reversed it. There we go. Okay. Scale it down. Remember, holding shift. If you have problems with line thickness, remember our plugin proportional scale. That should mitigate most problems there. Boom. Be sure to come in here. It's very difficult to read this list sometimes when you have 100 sponsors on here or something. Right here, we're going to say team, logo, green shirt template. I'm going to make a new group. Let's get another sponsor in here. Let's go IBM. There we go. Lovely. Come back in here just to have two so we can make a group. All right, plunk on IBM down there. In this case, right now it's an SVG. I'm going to make it black. I'm going to say we're going to have every single logo be black, easier to print, much cheaper as well. And it looks kind of nice, everything's the same. Boom, my lovely, perfect graphic design arrangement. We're going to take this. We're going to call it just IBM. Sometimes I have this in lowercase. Doesn't really matter. Just find a naming scheme and kind of stick to it. We're going to right-click, group them, and we're going to call these sponsor logos. Boom. And now we can open up this list, and we find them. I usually put the ones towards the, towards the top of the list, top, just to make it nice and happy. And we can take this. We can organize all the sponsor logos however we want. And eventually, we'll say, hey, we're going to go print this t-shirt design. Now that we've done all our wonderful handiwork, we get to print the t-shirt design. All you got to do, we're going to resize the frame here. Now that's going to move some stuff. We don't want it to move things. I just want to move the frame independently of everything. So what we're going to do is move the frame out of the situation. So now everything is outside of a frame. We resize the frame exactly how we want it. And bring her over here. Just like get everything in there. We can hide this. Go back up here, rechild all of these under the frame. We're going to call this 2024 tutorial t-shirt. Boom. There's our t-shirt design. And ask our printing team whatever they want to do. If they want a white background, if they want transparent background, if they want a transparent, I can just, boom, there's transparent, black on transparent. Beautiful. We come down here, select all of this. We don't need to select the t-shirt. We hit it. There we go. Come down to export. And we can go SVG if we want. Export it. Beautiful. Always make sure it opens and looks, normal. Even update it or upload to Google Drive just to make sure you don't have any issues with masking or anything. We can delete this. That's just a test. Go down here. Boom. Tutorial t-shirt, making sure it, looks nice in the web preview. It's really pixelated. Don't worry about it. All the detail did come in. It's just the Google Drive viewer. It's not perfect, but there we go. That's how to make a t-shirt. I think with that, it's going to be the end of our Figma tutorial today. Thank you all for watching. Hopefully you learned some stuff. Let me know in the Discord or in the YouTube comments, I suppose. Going to be checking the Discord a lot more frequently. But if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'll try to get back to you as soon as I can. But I'm totally fine with asking questions. I'd rather you ask them than make a design that we have to fix at 1 a.m. Not that that's ever happened before. But Hope you learned something. This has been Ben Morose, Head Graphics Mentor of Team 2530, Inconceivable, signing off.